Since the dawn of consciousness, under star-strewn skies and in moments of quiet wonder, we humans have asked the ultimate questions. Why are we here? How did all this begin? Does it all mean something? These questions echo from ancient civilizations to modern laboratories. Is the universe just a cosmic accident, or is there a guiding purpose behind it all? Today, science and philosophy join in a reflective journey to explore whether a creator, God, might exist, not through blind faith, but through reason and experience. Modern cosmology has uncovered an astonishing fact. The universe had a beginning. All space, time and matter burst into existence in a flash of light from apparent nothingness. Even the renowned physicist Stephen Hawking acknowledged the profound implication. So long as the universe had a beginning, we could suppose it had a creator. And in 2012, cosmologist Alexander Vilenkin delivered a remarkable verdict. All the evidence we have says that the universe had a beginning. A universe that begins begs the question of a cause. What could ignite the cosmos from nothing? Science cannot yet probe before the dawn of time, but the discovery of a cosmic beginning has revived an ancient inference. If there was a beginning, perhaps there was a beginner. As we examine the cosmos, we find it is not just there, it is finely ordered. The forces of nature are calibrated with almost unimaginable precision. If gravity were slightly stronger or weaker, if the charge of an electron were a hair different, if the expansion rate of the Big Bang had varied even minutely, life as we know it would be impossible. Far from being a chaotic accident, the universe behaves as if it were delicately engineered. This idea is known as the fine-tuning of the universe. Astronomer Fred Hoyle, once a staunch atheist, was shaken by one such example in nuclear physics. He confessed that it looked as if a super-intellect has monkeyed with physics as well as with chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces in nature worth talking about. Such is the impression of precise design. Many scientists have noticed this eerie fine-tuning. Physicist Paul Davies admits, the impression of design is overwhelming. The odds of all the constants being just right by chance alone are mind-numbingly small, like firing a bullet across the universe and hitting a target 1 inch wide. Some skeptics propose innumerable unseen universes, a multiverse, to chance upon a life-friendly cosmos. But that idea, speculative at best, only shifts the question. Why does any universe, or multiverse, exist with the potential for life? The elegant answer is the old one. Perhaps the universe is fine-tuned because it was set that way on purpose. Our journey now moves from the stars to the cell, from the vastness of space to the intricacy of life. In the nucleus of each of your cells, 6 feet of DNA are coiled up, containing a 4-letter chemical code. This code carries information, instructions, to build and sustain your body. It's astonishing. A biological text, 3.5 billion letters long, resides in every cell of every living thing. We know from experience that information comes from mind. We would never assume that a message written in the sand, our name spelled out by the waves, was generated by blind chance. As Oxford mathematician John Lennox observes, we have only to see a few letters of the alphabet spelling our name in the sand to recognize at once the work of an intelligent agent. How much more likely, then, is the existence of an intelligent creator behind human DNA, the colossal biological database that contains no fewer than 3.5 billion letters, the longest word yet discovered. The machinery of life is complex beyond imagination. Miniature motors spin inside cells. Proteins fold with exquisite precision. Organs form in orchestrated embryonic development. Could such intricate complexity arise without guidance? The theory of evolution by natural selection, as explained by biologists like Richard Dawkins, attempts to show how life's diversity could unfold without design. Dawkins famously argues that the appearance of design in biology is an illusion, that DNA, proteins, brains, all of it, emerge from random mutations filtered by survival, with no need for a designer. In Dawkins' own words, the universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference. It's a stark view. Nature as cold and uncaring, meaning and morality as human inventions. And yet, the more we learn about life, the harder this becomes to believe unquestioningly. The very origin of life remains a deep mystery. How did mere chemistry stumble upon the code of DNA and the machinery to read it? Even atheist thinkers like philosopher Thomas Nagel have been candid about this conundrum. Nagel observes that the more details we learn about the chemical basis of life and the intricacy of the genetic code, the more unbelievable the standard materialist historical account becomes. In other words, the idea that unguided processes alone just happen to produce life's incredible information feels implausible. It's as if the universe knew we were coming. Could it be that a mind was behind life from the start? Then there is the enigma of consciousness, the fact that we are not only alive, but aware. We don't just compute information like a robot. We experience the world. We feel love and wonder, sorrow and joy. How can self-aware mind arise from unconscious matter? This question baffles science to this day. We can study brain activity, and yet the inner feeling of being you, the taste of chocolate, the redness of a rose, the sound of music, these subjective experiences, what philosophers call qualia, seem irreducible to physics. The philosopher David Chalmers termed this the hard problem of consciousness. Thomas Nagel, reflecting on this as an atheist, admitted that without consciousness, the mind-body problem would be much less interesting. With consciousness, it seems hopeless. Hopeless. A striking word from a non-believer, indicating that our inner life might never be fully explained by neurons firing alone. If physical processes can't wholly account for the mind, it hints that mind might be a fundamental part of reality, perhaps pointing to a great mind behind the universe, of which our minds are faint reflections, hopeless. A striking word from a non-believer, indicating that our inner life might never be fully explained by neurons firing alone. If physical processes can't wholly account for the mind, it hints that mind might be a fundamental part of reality, perhaps pointing to a great mind behind the universe, of which our minds are faint reflections. We also confront the reality of moral values and duties. Humans everywhere have a sense of right and wrong, however imperfectly we live by it. We recoil at cruelty, we admire courage and compassion. We feel guilt when we do wrong, and righteous anger when we witness injustice. Yet, if the universe truly is, as Dawkins describes, governed by blind indifference with no evil and no good, where do these moral sensations come from? Are they just evolved survival instincts, useful fictions wired into our brains by evolution, if there is no higher moral law, one could argue that loving your neighbour or exploiting them are equally natural outcomes of blind evolution, neither objectively good nor evil. This thought troubles us. When faced with real-world evils, genocides, abuse, betrayal, we instinctively know that these are truly wrong, not just socially inconvenient. Our moral experience suggests an objective dimension to ethics, a law above human laws. William Lane Craig, a philosopher, points out that if there is no God behind the universe, then ultimately, the life we have is without ultimate significance, value, or purpose. In a cosmos without a creator, concepts like good and evil would be human inventions with no real authority. Yet everything in us cries out that love is better than hate, that justice matters, that a good life is not just a preference but something truly meaningful. This voice of conscience has led many to conclude that it is echoing the voice of a moral creator, a lawgiver who built moral truth into the fabric of reality. Lastly, consider the human longing for meaning. Beyond our scientific curiosity and moral intuition lies a deep-seated yearning for purpose and connection. We sense that our lives have significance, that love and relationships are more than biochemical reactions, that our story fits into a larger story. Throughout history, people have sought the transcendent through religion, philosophy, art, striving to connect with something eternal. Is this longing just a quirk of our neurons, a byproduct of evolution making us seek patterns and comfort? Or is it, as author C.S. Lewis suggested, like a homing signal? If we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. Our hearts hunger for ultimate meaning and justice. We hope that love is stronger than death, that injustices will be righted, that our brief lives are not in vain. These hopes would be in vain if reality at bottom is indifferent. But if a creator exists, then our desires for meaning and justice are signs pointing home, not futile dreams. We have journeyed from the cosmos to the cell, from the realm of galaxies to the realm of thoughts and moral truths. At every step we found clues, fingerprints perhaps, that hint at something, or rather someone, beyond the material world. No single clue by itself forces belief. After all, each can be debated, but taken together, the convergence is striking. The origin of the universe out of nothing, the exquisite fine-tuning of nature's laws, the complex information encoded in DNA, the emergence of conscious minds, the reality of moral values, and the universal human yearning for meaning. All of these are more coherent if there is a creator behind reality. They form a coherent narrative, a creator who established an orderly cosmos fit for life, who encoded a language of life in DNA, who endowed us with mind and conscience, and who calls to us through our desire for purpose. Of course, this conclusion is not the end of wonder, but the beginning. If a creator exists, it raises new questions. What is the nature of this creator? Can we know him, or it, personally? Why is there evil and suffering if a wise creator made the world? Those are deeper questions for another journey. Our task here was the ultimate question: does God exist? And through this journey, many honest skeptics and seekers have found the evidence pointing to a yes. Not an absolute proof, but a highly persuasive case. a convergence of reason and intuition that makes belief in God intellectually viable and emotionally satisfying. In a world where faith and reason are too often seen as enemies, we discover they can be allies. The scientific narrative and the spiritual narrative need not collide. They can converge to illuminate truth. As we've seen, some of the very minds at the forefront of science, from cosmologists to mathematicians, have been moved by the evidence to at least consider the God hypothesis. And thinkers who were once atheists have admitted that the universe looks disturbingly like it's not a fluke. Rather than dispelling the idea of God, our modern knowledge has in many ways reawakened it. The journey to answer the ultimate question, does God exist, is a profoundly personal one. No one can make that choice for you, but the journey is worth it. Look at the stars above, the code of life within, the moral law in your heart. Follow the evidence and follow that longing inside that asks for more. You may find, as many have, that the universe is not silent after all, that it speaks of a creator who has been there from the start. In the end, the conclusion of our reflective scientific journey is both humble and bold. A creator must exist. A conclusion reached not by a leap in the dark, but by a step into the light of reason. The ultimate question stands before us still. One question, one journey, one truth. Now the rest of the journey is yours. Seek answers, stay curious, and let both mind and heart guide you to your conclusion.